team up very early on. The Jarvan, he can do exactly that. He can go for these level 2 ganks and get his team rolling. Now, ready to get on into the first game of the series. EDG over on the red side with LGD on the blue side. EDG certainly the favorite, currently in 9th place in the LPL. And LGD, they're just hoping for another win right now.
When it comes to what both teams want to do in this game, it'll be really interesting to see where the junglers go. Of course, on the side of EDG, you can always have an avenue to look for an early gank top, which is what Junja has been very proficient at doing this split. We've typically seen him path towards the top side, look for some early aggression onto Audi, but more recently, EDG have been going towards that bot lane.
EDG do like to focus on towards the bottom side of the map, as you say, and a lot of that is down to Hope. A lot of that is that Hope certainly recently has been stepping up, especially when you look at the series between EDG and RNG. Hope on the Varus had a couple of really great highlight moments and really great team fights, and he was, if you remember back, he was on the LDL squad just a year ago, and he's been promoted. He got given a chance to step up to the main roster. And towards the start of the split, there was a few question marks on whether or not he was going to be able to, but as of recently, I think he's very much earned his spot.
Pretty much all split, he's been very consistent, showing he's a carry you can rely on in these late-game team fights. Scout doesn't have to shoulder that burden alone. And even going up towards the top lane recently, Audi has been doing very well. And it's actually interesting to see EDG kind of change what they've been doing this split, starting topside with the Rek'Sai, making their way towards the bot lane. Which could make sense because when we look at LGD's comp, it really is all about the bot side aggression. We don't really expect to see Peanut going up towards FunFun's lane when he's on the likes of an Ornn. You do have that Thresh. We can see something like a Flash play into Lantern play with that Jarvan.
Yeah. So, and also setting up a Varus. Varus, one of these champions that when you get a little bit of damage behind you, you have complete lane dominance down in that bottom side of the map. It can be very difficult to deal with a Varus if he can get a few long swords in his inventory.
Especially when you will just be able to easily abuse that Kai'Sa with your range advantage coming out from the queue. Peanut going towards that bot side like we talked about. EDG getting pressured in these early laning phases. Kai'Sa is more of a scaling pick, even when you have something like the Halo Blades, which, you know, does make your early trades a lot more bearable, manageable.
Yeah, a little bit more pressure coming out from that rune. Speaking of pressure, though, Peanut has stepped on into the jungle of Junja, who will contest onto this blue buff, forces the reset, keeps Peanut away from that one. Scout and Yuki going toe-to-toe in the meantime. Scout's winning out for now. Does have the lethal tempo on that Azir, and I think Peanut's just going to go for the re-engage because Kahlua and Kramer have moved on down to help him out. They've moved up from the bottom lane. Now they're going to get pinched, though. Mako potentially wants to try and find a play, dodges the death sentence, and everything will be deterred.
It's like you were saying earlier where we've seen LGD be a very strong early game team this split. Despite being so far down in the standings, being 15th, 2-6 in series right now, at 15 minutes they're typically only behind 500 gold, which isn't what you'd expect of a 2-6 team.
No, certainly not. And like you rightly say, a lot of this is down to the pressure that you get from Peanut. He's able to make a lot of things happen. It's in the later stages of the game that this team seems to struggle when it comes to things like synergy. Dredge line gets denied, though, from Mako. There's a Lantern for Peanut. The follow-up knock-up should be there. Mako dodges it, though. Roots Peanut under the tower. Forces the flash out of him. Turret shots galore. Piercing arrow won't land. Hope nearly gets the counter kill. Doesn't quite have the damage. Exhaust comes through. Oh, what a death sentence. Cleanse is available, though. No kills come out. So many summoners used.
Killua finding the hook there onto Mako, but it looked like LGD weren't on the same page. Peanut was going in as Kramer was backing off.
FunFun stole that. What a beast.
Yeah, coming into this roster for the first time, playing a new role in top and already showing his worth. Ooh, but
Junja, he's mad about that one. He's not going to let FunFun back into lane now. FunFun, you can't win this 2v1. Gets knocked up, stunned up, and will be finished off. Junja gets his revenge for the Scuttle Crab.
This is what we talked about with how Junja has been playing the split, which if you're a longtime LPL fan is very strange for EDG, who've always been a bot side oriented team. But this split so far, since Audi's coming into the roster, Junja and Scout have been putting a lot of pressure on top lane.
It's working out so far. And part of that was FunFun's fault, right? He kind of went on into the river, contested Junjia, and the question is, was the Scuttle Crab worth it?
Also, even after that, right, he could have backed off from the wave that he was just kind of standing in front of Junjia thinking, you can't do anything to me, and of course Junjia said no. Audi walks up, he flashes in, and yeah, that's all she wrote.
The rest is history. So, EDG off the back of that one. Obviously, all of the plays towards the bottom side that Peanut has made haven't actually netted any kills just yet. So EDG will find themselves a gold advantage off the back of that first blood. FunFun will not be deterred though. Still just go straight into EDG's jungle once again. Get some deep vision.
An interesting thing for the bot side too is if Mako is able to find a hook onto Kramer, you do have so much burst coming out from Halo Blades Kaisa that you can pretty much just take him down and, you know, combined one combo on your side and get right back into the lane. We saw Kramer blow the flash to try to secure that kill onto Hope. Hope still has his flash.
Yeah, Hope's going to be all right in that bottom side of the map. Obviously got exhausted. Did have to use the cleanse from the death sentence that came through at the end of the fight from Kalua. Now, Audi and FunFun going to be trading once again. The Conqueror procced and a Haymaker to finish it off as well. FunFun is not having FunFun in this top lane.
Just great after Junjia ganked the top side that, of course, the wave got pushed into tower. It would bounce back towards Audi's side of the lane. And now without Peanut heading up towards the top lane, not much FunFun can do until the wave slow pushes back to him.
Scout should be able to deny some of this CS from the side of Yuki, although Peanut is hanging around nearby. And that Phosphorus Bomb just going to be able to clean up most of those low minions. So not much denied in the end, and Peanut just going to move over, grab the Scuttle Crab on the top side for himself. But we do have Audi pushed up pretty far. Peanut not interested in going for that.
They don't have any information on where Junjia is right now. They do have a ward on his Krug, so they know he's not there, but he still could be on the top side of the map. So LGD just taking it a bit slow right now with Peanut's camps coming up on bot side. He's just going to head down there.
Yep, just going to continue to clear away the jungle. His red will be up in just a second or two, and you certainly can't afford to be giving buffs up against the likes of a Rek'Sai. You've got to be able to keep up in XP, but Kalua in trouble, flashes away. Kramer trading with Hope at the end of the fight. We kind of missed how that all started, though.
We did talk about that. We were talking about with Kramer, but if Mako finds a hook, Halo Blades Kaisa just has so much burst, even in the early stages of the game, it is pretty easy to find these kills.
Yeah. If they can find, I mean, both sides, right? Thresh, Nautilus, if you find the hook, if you can start things off right, especially onto the likes of the enemy AD carry, you're really going to have a lot of kill pressure immediately. Both of those going to be able to lock down a carry very comfortably.
I would say if Killua finds a hook onto Mako without Peanut there isn't too much kill threat coming out from the side of EDG until 6, which actually Varus did just hit 6, so they could be looking at these types of options now. But for EDG, they don't care about bot lane. They're just going to continuously abuse this pressure that Audi has in top lane with Set.
Yep. Junjia going to be happy to just take away this Rift Herald. Scout roamed on. Oh, it's going to be the objective secured for the side of EDG. Obviously, they got the first Infernal Drake as well for themselves. No answer whatsoever from Peanut. He's been spotted by this ward. Realizes what's going on, clears that away. But Peanut actually been relatively quiet. We were saying in the Champ Select that, you know, this guy is kind of known for his early pressure. He's known for being the one that accelerates the squad of LGD. But so far this game, not really interested in skirmishing.
To be fair, when you look at the map, we already talked about you have an Ornn in the top side where EDG has been putting pressure, so not much you can do. It's Corki versus Zir in the mid lane. You're not going to find much that you can do there. And he did spend a considerable amount of time bot, you know, with that first invade, turning that into a gank. And again, if LGD were on the same page earlier, it probably could have resulted in a kill.
Well, I just said Peanut had been quiet, but he's hit level 6 at this point. He wants an opportunity to use that Cataclysm. Ward going to be spotted out. Means that Peanut can't go for a gank just yet. But it also means that Peanut is going to be spotted on the bottom side of the map. Junjia with the knowledge advantage right now.
Yep. And it'll be interesting to see where this game goes, especially when we get towards the later stages, where it feels like scaling is pretty even across the board. We have something like Kaisa. Ooh, but
We're going to have a big old play come in on this bottom side of the map. Mako the target to start with. Will get his aftershock, so it'll be tanky. Kalua can say the same as he backs away. Both supports surviving. Valkyrie forward, Yuki flashes. And there's going to be 2 for 1 so far. 2 kills go straight on the way of Yuki, though. It's a lot of gold for the Corki early on. Teleport cancelled from the top side there.
LGD just getting to the bot lane first, finding these picks off very importantly. Fun doing his job, canceling Audi's TP. And this was the pressure that we were talking about, that LGD's been so good at finding this split.
That is a big TP advantage found for the side of Fun, because bear in mind how far behind he was pushed right at the start from the early gank from Junjia.
I mean, he's still behind about 30 CS, and looks like he's even having to walk around the long way on our mini-map. So he's still losing this 1v1, which was expected, especially set goes towards Blade of the Rune King. But here we see, we talked about once Varus hit level 6, coming with the Flay and Lantern play. You have a numbers advantage right now on the side of LGD. Yuki's already here. They get Mako low. Valkyrieing in so aggressively forward, and it looks like Junjia just over-aggressing for that kill onto Killua.
I think Junjia basically saying, look, I can almost afford my warriors. I'm willing to die for this one. Just goes in with the Void Rush. But in the meantime, Yuki already got the kill onto Mako, and then he's able to just turn it around and get a double kill. 2 kills early on for Corki is a big deal. Peanut forced away. Herald dropped in this top side as well. With Demolish, they should be able to finish off this entire tower. This will be the first tower of the game going the way of EDG.
Just good tempo play coming out from EDG, sending their bot lane towards the top lane. Audi already have the pressure, maybe hoping they could find a cheeky pick or dive onto Fun, but they weren't able to do it. And Kramer shouldn't be able to find too much on the bot side of the map with Audi already heading over.
Fun will be able to clear away the Rift Herald, so it won't get any more charges across the map. But this is great for the side of EDG, because you have to consider Kramer, he's got 3 plates for himself, but that's all of the plates they've got across the entire map right now. And Scout happy to come and match him in this bottom side of the map. Obviously, Hope had moved up towards the top side to try and finish off that tower.
And going back to what we were talking about before with kind of win conditions, EDG right now want to be constantly using Audi's pressure to wander around the map, get a tempo advantage, and set up for a 5v4 fight on Dragon, make Fun force out his TP, but you're already here first, maybe delete a member from the side of LGD. LGD can take it slow, say, hey, we're going to give this up. Scaling, though, looks pretty even on both sides. I'd say maybe slightly edged out by LGD because they do have those Ornn items coming in later, but you have 2 pretty much hyper carries on the side of EDG. Strong scaling AD carry with Varus, strong late game AD carry with Corki.
And ultimately, when you talk about scaling, when it's even like this, when both teams have great scaling, sure, you can talk about minute advantages that one team might have, but ultimately it's going to come down to execution in the team.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to who plays their composition better.
Like, when you look at them in isolated scenarios, of course Kaisa having that percent HP damage from her passive makes her a stronger late game carry than Varus. But again, the way these comps interact with things like the Rek'Sai being in the hands of Junjia, you having an Ornn yourself, it is really going to come down to who can play better and who can really abuse their pressures, which right now it looks like EDG have more of with this set in the top lane.
EDG have looked convincing so far this game. Audi on the set, already showing his proficient with the moveset as well. Went for the Blade of the Rune King build as well. Knows he's up against the Ornn, and he'll likely be dealing with the Ornn and with the Java for the rest of the game. So the percent damage, the extra attack speed, going to be welcomed by him.
And now it's getting to a point in the game where it's going to come down to LGD constantly trying to find pressure through their bot lane, where they do have a lot of kill pressure with this Varus' Chains of Corruption, and EDG doing the opposite, just letting Audi push out, move towards them. It's kind of going to be a push and pull from opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, we'll get to the point in the mid-game where quite often we see it in the LPL that it's kind of trading tower for tower, trading objective for objective, Herald for Dragon, and across the map just this back and forth, as you say. But EDG will be the ones that start with an advantage. It's going to be, the onus is on LGD to be able to match this tempo, to be able to match the trades that go on and find some advantages, because when you look at the advantages from the plates, it's all going the way of EDG.
And EDG have been doing such a good job at using Audi's push. They've been the ones to get the Rift Heralds. They were the one who brought him over to take the Dragons, so they're coming out on top of the objective game.
LGD going to contest, though. Certainly won't let this Herald go for free. Both mid laners over towards the bottom side, but they have teleports available here. Fun grouping up with the team despite having his own teleport. Mako going to be knocked up, denied his dredge line. Has the stopwatch. Call of the Forge God will finish this. In fact, Yuki gets him before it even comes on through. Now Junjia's on the menu. And straight on towards the Herald. They don't even need to set up a 5v5. They could just get a couple of picks.
That just comes down to a mistake coming out from EDG. No one on the side of LGD was on the map. Ornn was not catching top wave. No one was sitting bot. Mako overextended in mid, getting caught out. Like you said, didn't even have time to use that flash after the stopwatch, and LGD coming out ahead.
And it's great to see Yuki using that package to get to the plate as well. We mentioned how Yuki and Scout were both in the bottom side of the map. Yuki keeps his teleport, doesn't use that, is able to get up to the plate without having to burn the sub.
And here we see Mako just extended too far forward. We can see on the minimap, no one was showing from the side of LGD. It's very easy for them to follow up all this damage. Junjia just walking too far forward, maybe posturing, thinking, does my team want to fight? But Scout's not even there.
Yeah, Scout doesn't channel the TP, commits to trying to push out in the bottom lane, but didn't actually manage to get anything from it. Tower plates had gone down already, so there wasn't any gold to be had there, and wasn't able to push down the tower. So ultimately, it's a net loss for the side of EDG. And with that, the gold's swinging towards LGD once again. The difference only 1,000.
Now it's going to be about where does LGD decide to use this Baron? Not Baron, I'm sorry, Rift Herald. Do they want to set up this Rift Herald mid, maybe try to get pressure for the incoming Drake maybe in 30, 40 seconds?
Well, they're going to have a bit of pressure and a bit of knowledge on Peanut here. He's been spotted out doing his chickens. The Scout sees the atrocity to the bird race. He's furious. He's going to be looking to punish him in the next fight.
And LGD are already here. All 5 of them already on the map. We see Audi in the top side. So right now it's about no one on the side of EDG overstepping if they do want to threaten this top side push, but doesn't look like they even have a chance.
And I love this. Use the Herald in mid, puts a lot of pressure that needs to be answered from the side of EDG. And with Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, it means that LGD control this whole area.
EDG just deciding to trade for a bot turret. I don't think it's worth on the side of EDG. LGD will now be able to open up the map consistently through mid now that this tier 1 isn't there. And they were, of course, able to set up vision, but there we go. Now they're setting down the control wards.
I just love seeing that from the side of Scout. He's like, you thought you were coming to get me on your tower, but turns out you're coming into my tower now. Sets up his Azir tower. And he's able to get out of it. Mako may not be so lucky, though. Slow comes out from the Forge God. Pulls himself away with a dredge line. The piercing arrow doing a lot, though. That's not even lethality.
No, and again, an interesting thing to see on these comps is EDG's only real engage is this Nautilus. For Set, he has to come in on a flank. Kai'Sa, of course, can't jump in alone. If Rek'Sai goes in, he's pretty squishy. He's just going to get deleted. So LGD's comp has a lot of kind of options how it can go, right? They can play back. They have double AD carry that can poke you from afar. They have 3 engage options on the side of Ornn, Jarvan, and Thresh. So maybe this is how we're going to see these mid and late game team fights go. LGD knowing, hey, we don't actually have to really look and commit to a team fight. We can poke you out and make you come into us in an unfavorable position.
All of this hard engage that they have doesn't have to be 5v5 hard engage. It can also be kind of used just as a pick composition at the same time. And most importantly, when you look at how these picks have been going, the scoreboard is very much in favor of Yuki here. He's the benefactor of most of these plays on 3-0-1. Corki, one of these champions that, yes, he'll scale very well into the late game, but he spikes incredibly hard during the mid game as well.
Yeah, two and especially 3-item Corki, once you get the Triforce IE and maybe an Essence Reaver in there, is extremely strong. Some other options you can go for is like a rapid fire cannon. Your autos are going to hit like a truck. You're going to have really strong rockets. So LGD are going to come in strong. And just imagine once you get those Ornn upgrade items on something like a Corki IE. It's going to be really dangerous.
Yeah, Corki, definitely not a yordle to be trifled with, as they say. I don't think they say that. They might do. I don't know the lore. Do you know the lore of Corki?
I don't.
Do you know what they say about him? Is the Corgi part of the lore?
The only part of the lore that I really know and remember is, again, the Jax lamppost thing.
What's the lore on that?
Well, it's just that he was too strong to get a real weapon, so, you know, he had to get the lamppost. And I guess I don't even really know the lore. I just know that part.
You just know
But that was
too
the cool
strong.
part, yeah.
Well, I mean, similar story for Xerath, actually. He's meant to be, like, unlimited power, literally. But he was too strong, so they nerfed him for the game. Man, I wish the game was still like the universal judgment of the world.
Yeah, like the
thing.
Summoners of War thing. I love that too.
It was so cool.
The new lore actually telling the story just doesn't do it for me the same way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it fits into the universe now. Like, the League of Legends universe seems separate from the League of Legends game almost.
It does.
But
getting back to the game, we do see 2 items coming out for pretty much a lot of members in both teams. Yuki now having that IE. Kramer getting the Ginsu, so he's going to be able to start putting out a lot of damage. Scout also getting the Liandry, so going to be able to quickly get that Madness passive and just stack up the damage. The controversial item of Black Cleaver on set, but that's been talked about 100 times, so we're just going to leave it at that.
I'm not going to touch that with a barge pole. But yeah, you're absolutely right. 2 item spikes pretty much across the board. The only exception to that is Hope right now. Has not finished that Rage Blade. I don't know when the last time he recalled was. You'd expect him to be at least very close to finishing that one off. But he has the tier 2 boots, which Kramer's not going to have on the other side. So
I also think it's interesting that Killua went towards the Gargoyle Stone Plate. Its thresh builds are very flexible. You see people like Sword Art going constantly to the Zeke's Convergence. You see some people have gone for early redemptions. And Killua going for this Stone Plate just kind of shows, hey, he wants to get in the thick of things and really get in the middle of these fights, which is pretty strange when we talked about that he doesn't need to do that.
Speaking of the fights, Junjia flashes forward and Kramer will be finished off here. Boyrush, no! The arrow point blank finishes it off and Yuki turns it into a second. What a turnaround from LGD. Here's a third one as well. Second double of the game and LGD fully in control.
Junjia just going in so deep. We talked about as a Rek'Sai, once you commit, there's no getting out. And then the rest of EDG just left in a really awkward position. That catch really came out of nowhere, and it was EDG who engaged that.
Yeah, Junjia thought that he could dive, thought he could finish off Kramer, who just knocks his bow and blasts the Void creature out of the sky.
Ooh, Scout.
Scout has been very aggressive with his positioning this game. We saw him barely getting away on the bottom side. This time he can't destroy the turret, therefore can't create his own. He's going to be finished off, surely. Flash out of Scout. Audi's here. Will walk away in the end.
So we see EDG trying to coordinate this aggressive play. Somehow Kramer doesn't die. They just don't have the damage yet. We did talk about Hope having finished the second item. And now all the members of EDG are left too far forward. Good TP coming in from FunFun, opening up the Call of the Forge God, slowing everyone, and just LGD rounding it out with all those kills.
And it's kind of crazy that LGD are the ones that are ahead on these plays, because EDG are the ones starting things off. EDG were the ones with the tempo. Bear in mind, they were the first one to get a tower this game. LGD the ones with a tower advantage overall.
True, and I guess it does come back to that earlier advantage of how are we going to see these mid-late game teamfights go, where, again, both comps are pretty similar, scaling is relatively similar, but on the side of EDG, you don't actually have any real way of starting off these fights other than Mako, and that seemed like they were just really overreaching for a pick. Kramer was under his turret. It gave LGD's members a lot of time to respond. We were talking about how we wanted to see EDG play through Audi's pressure in the side lane, constantly pushing first and roaming, forcing FunFun to answer, but that hasn't happened.
So far, so good for FunFun as well. You bring it. Oh, Mako flashes the hook, gets played back on in. He's tanky with the Aftershock and with the Stone Play. In goes Hope onto the backline, trying to find Yuki. Does not have the damage. Audi now will be finished off as well. 2 more for Yuki, the hyper carry Corki right here. FunFun now alone, but he's on the Ornn. He's going to be fine from this one. And once again, LGD find yet another fight.
And again, that was EDG the ones trying to be the aggressors in that exchange. Kaisa just not having the damage at this moment, and Yuki just blowing her up, and the rest of LGD's already here with Baron.
I feel like LGD here are just like, how did this happen? How did we win so hard? I don't feel like we did anything, but EDG just consistently engaging these fights that are not working at all.
Like 5 minutes ago, this game was pretty even.
I would say it was exactly even. Let's take another look, though. The box slowing down Mako. Audi with a decent flank.
And we talked about that's what Audi needs to do. It's really your only other engage option aside from Mako, but Kaisa going in way too early on the side of EDG. Pretty strange when we've been hyping up Hope so much for his great play in recent weeks.
I feel like if Audi goes onto the side of Yuki there, maybe that's a 1 fight, honestly.
Yeah.
Kind of separated from Hope went into the back line, and he went onto a different part of the back line.
If it was a bit coordinated, it was better coordinated.
Yeah.
It was looking like it could be a pretty decent opportunity for EDG.
And isn't this just so LPL? You know? It's 9-2 on the scoreboard right now. LGD pretty far ahead at this stage, 25 minutes with a 6,500 gold lead. Against a team that literally just went 1-2 against RNG in an insanely close series. They're looking like a really strong team. LGD's in 15th right now. They should not be the ones with an advantage in this series.
It's really interesting, too, because we saw EDG having pretty good early and mid games against RNG, and it's always kind of been their late game decision-making where things have fallen apart. But this game, once it hit mid-game, they just looked like they didn't know what to do.
Well.
Ooh, and look, just upgrading that Triforce coming out from Corki.
He's about to upgrade the Blade of the Rune King as well. Kramer going to get a big advantage. Fun looking for the knockups here. Onto all three in the backline. Mako not tanky enough. Showstopper stops no one. Junjia won't be able to survive. The Void Rush keeps him alive for a moment, but Scout falls. All of the carries fall. It's a triple through for Kramer, and surely the game as well. LGD, the benefactor of EDG's misplay.
Fun showing up when it matters. Good call of the Forge God starting up that fight. And we just saw how well-rounded LGD ended up being at the end of this game, really performing as a team. And again, great game from Yuki when we came in saying he's been a player that's really struggling on the